Shanti Shanti. Om Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Stapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharmasvarupine Avatara Varishtaya Ramakrishna Te Namaha Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Pratyorma Amritangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let us offer our salutations to Sri Ramakrishna, the embodiment of all religions, the Supreme God Incarnate, who came to establish religion universal. Let us pray to Him to lead us from the unreal to the real, to lead us from the darkness of ignorance to the light of knowledge, to lead us from death to immortality. We have been studying Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Today's topic I have chosen from the Gospel, spiritual gems. Sri Ramakrishna has given very pointed teachings for us to experience divine in this human life. Certainly we have to make effort in that direction. And Sri Ramakrishna gives profound instructions how to practice religion in one's own way. Those who really aspire for spiritual life, they all in one way or other been drawn to Sri Ramakrishna. In Sri Ramakrishna, all the spiritual aspirants get their fulfillment. And Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is full of spiritual gems. Sri Ramakrishna says, Ahimsa Paramo Dharma. One should definitely establish oneself in Ahimsa. Not hurting anyone in any way. But then problem may arise that if a person behaves that way, some people may take advantage of that person and may cause harm. So Sri Ramakrishna makes it very clear, his, but don't bite. Very nicely Sri Ramakrishna has said how to practice ahimsa. In this regard, Sri Ramakrishna tells a story very interesting. Some cowherd boys used to tend their cows in a meadow where a terrible venomous snake lived. Everyone was on the alert for fear of him. So, people were very much frightened about the poisonous snake living there in the meadow. Once a brahmacharin was walking along that way. Immediately the villagers came and warned, "Sir, please don't go that way. A venomous snake lives over there." Brahmacharin was totally unperturbed. He was well established in his spiritual thinking and life, and always maintained tranquility and peace. So he replied, "Well, what of it, my children? I am not afraid of the snake. I know how to make the snake behave." So he continued on his way along the meadow. Probably it was the good fortune of the snake to come across a holy person. In a way, he was responsible for the liberation of this venomous snake. So the brahmachari went without any fear, and immediately, as usual, the snake moved swiftly and raised its hood. Any moment it may attack. That's the nature of the cobra. The cobra always attacks. It doesn't wait for a single moment. It's very aggressive. But as the snake was approaching fast near the brahmachari, he recited a mantra. And that mantra was so powerful, the serpent, as soon as it came near the brahmachari, it lay at his feet like an earthworm. Probably it was touching the feet of the brahmachari. Then the brahmachari said, "Look here, why do you go about doing harm? Come, I will give you a holy word. Repeat it constantly. You will learn to love God." It is very important. People don't have that love of God. So how to cherish that love? Repeat the mantra constantly, sincerely. Ultimately you will realize Him. And so he advised the serpent to take this mantra and get rid of his violent nature. So he taught the snake a holy word. He initiated the snake into spiritual life. As soon as the snake got this mantra, it bowed before the teacher and said, "Revered sir, how shall I practice spiritual discipline?" Then the teacher was so gracious and knew how to handle the serpent. He said, "Don't worry, repeat the sacred word I had given to you. Don't do any harm to anyone. Then he was about to leave the place, but then he said to the snake, "Well, I shall see you again." So that means he is giving the assurance to the snake that he would be visiting him and find out the progress of its spiritual practice. So some days passed by. The cowherd boys began to observe that the snake was not coming up aggressively to attack anyone, and it was not biting. So now it is the turn of these cowherd boys to make fun with that poor creature. They began to throw stones at it. Still, the snake did not show any anger. It behaved as if it were an earthworm. It kept silent, as if dead. One day, one of the boys came close to it. He became so bold now, thinking that the snake would not bite at all, so he can do anything with the snake. So he began to tease the snake and torture it. The monkey nature of the boys. That's why the boys are generally compared to monkeys. If somebody says we have not seen monkeys, please go and see the boys. That include girls also. Probably the girls are less of boisterous nature. So what these boys did, they came close. Still the snake did not show any movement. Then one of the boy, he was bold enough to caught the snake by tail and whirling it round and round, dashed it again and again on the ground and threw it away. That's the climax. What happened as a result? The snake got bruises all over the body. It began to vomit blood and it became unconscious. It was stunned. It could not move. Previously it could move here and there. Now even the movement stopped. Well, the boys thought the snake might be dead. So they left the snake and went in their own way. Late at night it regained consciousness. Slowly and with great difficulty, it dragged itself into its hole, its abode. Its bones were broken, and it could scarcely move. How can it get any medical treatment? Poor animal. Many days passed. The snake became a mere skeleton covered with a skin. Now and then, at night, it would come out of the hole in search of food. Previously, the villagers would be afraid of the snake. Now the snake is afraid of the villagers. For the fear of the boys, it would not leave its hole during the daytime. Since receiving the sacred word from the teacher, it had literally given up doing harm to others. It maintained its life on dirt leaves, or the fruit that dropped from the trees. It pulled down its life that way, hoping to see its teacher as he had assured that he would be visiting him again. About a year later, the brahmachari came that way again and began to look for the snake. The cowherd boys told the brahmachari, "Oh, that snake is dead." But the brahmachari couldn't believe the words of the boys. He knew that the snake could not die before attaining the fruit of the holy word with which it had been initiated. So he found his way to the place and, searching here and there, called it by the name he had given it. Hearing the teacher's voice, it came out of its hole and bowed before him with great reverence. "How are you?" asked the brahmachari. "I am well, sir," replied the snake. But the teacher asked, "Why are you so thin?" The snake replied, "Sir, you ordered me not to hurt anyone, not to harm anybody. So I have been living only on leaves and fruit. Perhaps that has made me thinner." See, he did not complain that the boys threw stones at it and dashed the snake against the rock, etc., etc. They threw him away. All these things the snake did not tell the brahmachari. Those ideas didn't come to it at all. The snake had developed the quality of sattva gun, which Sri Ramakrishna says everybody should be well established in sattva gun before expecting any vision of God. We are so rajasic and tamasic, and we want God relation. Never. Unless you become sattvic, you have no entrance to the realm of spirituality. You must become sattvic. There is no concession in that rule. You have to become sattvic, and the final stage you have to transcend that sattvic gun also. So, because it had developed sattva quality on account of its constant repeating the mantra, it could not be angry with anyone. It had totally forgotten that the cowherd boys had almost killed it. The brahmachari said, "Well, it can't be mere want of food that has reduced you to this state. There must be some other reason. Think a little." When the teacher said this, then the snake tried to remember that the boys had dashed it against the ground. Then it revealed, "Sir, yes, now I remember. The boys one day dashed me violently against the ground. They are ignorant after all." See, the snake has become compassionate. They didn't realize what a great change had come over my mind. How could they know I wouldn't bite or harm anyone? The brahmachari exclaimed, "What a shame! You are such a fool. To become spiritual means not to become fool. You don't know how to protect yourself. I asked you not to bite, but I did not forbid you to hiss." Why didn't you scare them away by hissing? So, Sri Ramakrishna says, now, very important teaching. You must hiss at wicked people. You must frighten them, lest they should do you harm. But never inject your venom into them. One must not injure others. Must not. Very important. Every day, how many times we insult others, we abuse others, we think bad of others, we talk ill of others. We should completely stop all those things. So that is very important gem, one of the gems Sri Ramakrishna has given us. Spiritual gem. You'll be enriched with spiritual treasure. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, in this creation of God, there is a variety of things. Men, animals, trees, plants. Among the animals, some are good, some are bad. There are ferocious animals like the tiger. Some trees bear fruit sweet as nectar. They bear fruit sweet as nectar. And some other trees bear fruit that is poisonous. Like among human beings, there are the good and the wicked, the holy and the unholy. There are some who are devoted to God and others who are attached to the world. So try to be always with holy association and don't get mixed up and spoil yourself coming in contact with wicked people. Association is extremely important. Again, Sri Ramakrishna tells, God dwells in all beings, but you may be intimate only with good people. You must keep away from the evil-minded. It is true, God is even in the tiger, but on that count you can't embrace the tiger. You may say, why run away from a tiger, which is also a manifestation of God? The answer to that is, those who tell you to run away are also manifestations of God. And why shouldn't you listen to them? That means Viveka. You must use the power of Vivek. Don't be foolish and behave in a stupid way. Another gem. Of course, gospel is full of gems only. Real gems, not artificial gems. And Sri Ramakrishna assures here that God can be realized through all paths. If this one truth, if people understand properly, there would not be any quarrel. Why should there be any conversion? Why should you force a man to come into this religion and that religion? You follow what path you want. That's all. Then the matter ends. Don't bother about the other man's way. That will stop your progress in the path. You follow, reach the goal, and get your life fulfilled. So Sri Ramakrishna tells, very important point, all religions are true. They're all true. The important thing is to reach the roof. You can reach it by stone stairs, or by wooden stairs, or by bamboo steps, or by a rope. God is one, but He has many names. So people worship according to their own choice, but they are worshipping the same God. If people really understand this teaching, definitely they will become peaceful. And these are not mere words. Sri Ramakrishna experienced, and these are the revelations coming from Sri Ramakrishna through his experience of spirituality. Through practicing all religions, he arrived at this truth. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, engage yourself in selfless work. Otherwise, how do you get rid of your egoism? How do you get rid of your worldliness? How do you develop compassion and love? Unless you put little effort. To become spiritual is spiritual. To become selfless is spiritual. The more and more a person is worldly, you don't have to say he is more and more selfish. You don't have to say that. Utterly worldly man is utterly selfish. So, the spirituality is measured according to the quality of selflessness you have developed in your character. Why Sri Ramakrishna was emphasizing to become selfless, to engage oneself in selfless activities? By doing that, love of God grows in the heart. Then through His grace one realizes Him in course of time. God can be seen. One can talk to Him as I am talking to you. All these are Sri Ramakrishna's words in Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Full of gold inside. Still we are going for artificial gold. And Sri Ramakrishna tells, I tell you the truth. This is also very important. He says, there is nothing wrong in your being in the world. We are all in the world. There is nothing wrong in that. But you must direct your mind towards God. Otherwise, you will not succeed. Do your duty with one hand, and with the other, hold to God. After the duty is over, you will hold to God with both hands. Then Sri Ramakrishna says, remember that daya, compassion and maya, attachment or maya or attachment are two different things. Daya, compassion, maya, attachment are two different things. Attachment means the feeling of myness. M-Y-N-E-S-S. Myness. Not subtraction. Minus towards one's relatives. He is mine. He is my brother-in-law. He is my father-in-law. It is mine. That belongs to me. That emphasis on me and mine, that is called attachment. It is a love one feels for one's parents, one's brother, one's sister, one's wife and children. Compassion is the love one feels for all beings of the world. It is an attitude of equality. If you see anywhere an instance of compassion, anywhere in the universe, know that it is due to the grace of God. Through compassion, one serves all beings. Maya also comes from God. Through Maya, God makes one serve one's relatives. Otherwise nobody cares for anybody. But one thing should be remembered. Maya keeps us in ignorance and entangles us in the world. Whereas Daya makes our heart pure and gradually unties our bonds. Again Sri Ramakrishna says, you should try to perform duties in a detached way. The point is, you must have spiritual orientation. Whenever you are doing duties, always remember, it is God's work I am doing. It's God's assignment. I am accomplishing it. It's not mine. It's God's assignment. God has given this assignment. I have to perform it properly. And Sri Ram gives an example. Before you break the jackfruit open, rub your hands with oil so that the sticky milk will not smear them. The maid servant in a rich man's house performs all her duties, but her mind dwells in her home in the country. This is an example of doing duty in a detached way. So you should renounce the world only in the mind. It is God Himself who has kept you in the world to set an example to men. You may resolve in your mind 1,000 times to renounce the world, but you will not succeed. God has given you such a nature that you must perform your worldly duties. Lord Krishna said to Arjun, Arjun, what do you mean you will not fight? By your mere will you cannot desist from fighting. It's not by your will you are doing that. Your very nature will make you fight. I have selected the gems. And then Sri Ramakrishna says, be firm in one ideal. Don't keep on shifting the ideal. Today one, afternoon another, evening another, next day one more. You will not move an inch forward if you keep on shifting ideal time to time. No. Sri Ramakrishna says, be firm in one ideal. Then dive deep, otherwise you cannot get the gems at the bottom of the ocean. You can't pick up the gems if you only float on the surface. On the surface you get only mud, not gems. If the many and the one be indeed the same reality, then it is not at all modes of worship alone, but equally all modes of work, all modes of struggle, all modes of creation, which are paths of realization. No distinction henceforth between sacred and secular. Everything is sacred. When you fill up everything with the idea of God, with the idea of divine, then everything becomes sacred. Sri Ramakrishna, in the course of his sadhana, acquired many siddhis. That means occult powers. But he never gave any importance to them. In fact, Sri Ramakrishna explains it to a devotee, he got a vision where Divine Mother Kali in the vision showed in a corner. He pointed out, see there, the occult powers are like the filth of a prostitute. So such utter disregard for the occult powers. Lord Krishna says, if anybody has any one of the siddhis, please note that is little far away from realization. Swami Vivekananda says in one of his talks, in life it comes. There is a person who would keep on changing the color of the flower because he had that power to change the color of the flower. Whole day. So you become addicted. Addiction is dangerous. You become helpless and hopeless. And finally, you ruin yourself. So addiction ruins a man. So Sri Ramakrishna says, don't give any importance for the siddhis. Sri Ramakrishna was told a particular sadhu acquired siddhi after practicing rigorous yogic practice. What siddhi he got? He could walk across water. When Sri Ramakrishna heard this, he made a remark, what folly! Can this power take him one step nearer to God? For 3 paisa, a boatman would have taken him in his boat across the water. So what? By crossing the water using yogic powers. Yogic power is not required. Just spend 3 paisa, you can cross the river. Sri Ramakrishna explained complex philosophic truths in simple language with the help of easy to understand similes and parables. When asked once about the danger of a householder getting bogged down in samsara, he replied that one could enter into the world after the attainment of bhakti. Since even as the milk of jackfruit cannot stick to palms anointed with oil, samsara cannot touch a heart insulated with bhakti. If you have bhakti, samsara will not do any harm to you. To aspirants' questions on how to overcome weaknesses, Sri Ramakrishna's reply was that with progress in spiritual sadhana, weaknesses would automatically be shed. And gives the example, even as the petals of a flower fall down when the fruit is emerging. How nice simile. He wanted his disciples always to remember that they may live in the world, but that the world should not live in them. He used to drive home this point with the illustration of a boat that can keep afloat as long as water is outside it, but would sink the minute water enters into it. According to Sri Ramakrishna, spiritual quest should be to experience God through devotion, but not to understand Him through intellect. It is not so easy to understand, to comprehend God through this meager intellect. as God is beyond comprehension. Sri Ramakrishna says of a man trying to analyze him. He is like a salt dole trying to fathom the sea. He will be lost and absorbed in the attempt. It is insights like this which made Gandhi say that Sri Ramakrishna's utterances are not those of a mere learned man, but are pages from the book of life. Gandhiji has made observation about Sri Ramakrishna's life. The ultimate in spiritual wisdom is to be garnered from Sri Ramakrishna's awareness of the all-pervasiveness of divinity, even in the midst of excruciating physical pain. During his last days, when devotees unable to see his suffering in the advanced stage of throat cancer, they begged him to cure himself through praying. Sri Ramakrishna agreed with a gentle smile. A few hours later, he sent word to Swami Vivekananda and told him that he did tell Mother Kali about his inability to swallow food, but that she drew his attention to all the people in the ashram and in the outside world and asked him if he was not eating through all those mouths. This made them understand that every living thing in the universe was for him a vehicle of Mother Kali's love and grace, and that Sri Ramakrishna's consciousness is no longer tethered to the shell of his own physical body. Perhaps the best description for Sri Ramakrishna's evolved spiritual state is to be found in his own assertion. As a piece of rope, when burnt, retains its form, but is no good for binding, so is the ego, which is burnt by the fire of supreme knowledge. Sri Ramakrishna has said many stories and parables. He said, one dark night, a fisherman stole into a private garden with a pond full of fish. He was pleased to see that the house was dark. Thinking that everyone was asleep, he decided to catch some of the fish in the pond. It's a private property. He has no business to go there. Stealing habit. He wanted to steal, so he went. But the sound of the net dropping into the water woke up the master of the house. Did you hear that? The master said. Someone may be stealing our fish. So the master of the house ordered his servants to go immediately, check out, find him, who he was. The fisherman who was stealing was in a fix. They are coming this way. He had to act immediately, otherwise his life is in danger. So he quickly hid his net under a bush and started to run. But there was no way to escape. As he was desperately looking for a place to hide, he suddenly saw a smoldering fire, perhaps left by a holy man. Fate could not have been kinder to me, the relieved fisherman thought. He quickly pulled off his turban and smeared some ash on his arms and forehead and sat in front of the fire, pretending to be a holy man deep in meditation. The servants were chasing to find out where the thief had gone. So they came upon him. But when they saw him, he was having ashes on the body and sitting closed eyes in front of the fire. They thought probably he was a holy man. So they don't want to disturb him. A deep meditation, he's sitting. So what happened? The master of the house asked, "Did you find the thief?" "No luck, sir," the servants replied. "He escaped. But we found a holy man meditating in the garden." Holy man? In the garden? "Well, I am very fortunate to have a holy man in my garden. Take me to him." The servants took the master over to the place where the fisherman was pretending to meditate. As they came close, the master told everyone to be quiet so as not to disturb the great saint. "I have fooled them well, even the master of the house," thought the fisherman as he pretended to meditate. The master of the house and his servants finally left. They were satisfied. Yes, the holy man is there. The fisherman decided to sit quietly for the rest of the night and to escape at dawn. At the crack of dawn, he got up to leave, but before he could escape, he saw a young couple approaching with a newborn baby. Because they heard a holy man is here. "We heard of you and have come to seek your blessings. Please bless our child, this newborn child. We need your blessings." "May God bless you," said this fake holy man. He has to bless, because he is in the garb of a holy man. The fisherman was so touched by the respect and devotion the people showed him that he decided to pretend no longer and truly become a man of God. So it became a turning point in his life. It gave him an awakening. He gave up thieving for good and spent the rest of his life in prayer and meditation. So the thief who began by pretending to be holy truly became so. The story is said by Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was born in 1836 and attained Samadhi in 1886 in Calcutta. He embodied the very core of the spiritual revelations of the Indian Pandits and Rishis. Sri Ramakrishna devoted his entire existence in contemplating God, the divine force. Sri Ramakrishna was world renowned for his God consciousness, which has transcended all times and places and has a universal fascination. Those who wish to find God are often attracted to Sri Ramakrishna's life and teachings. Sri Ramakrishna has influenced the spiritual thoughts of our time, perhaps more than anyone else. The focal points of Sri Ramakrishna's teachings are: the first tenet of his teachings was to see God in all. He had reached a state of realization in which he saw God walking in every human form, manifesting himself alike in the saint and the sinner, in the virtuous and the vicious. Secondly, he saw God within us. In fact, according to Sri Ramakrishna, men and other creatures appeared to him only as hollow forms, moving their heads, hands and feet, but within them was the Lord himself. Thirdly, Sri Ramakrishna encouraged perseverance by all in their search for God. He believed that no one's life should be dictated by failure. Instead, he taught people to be resilient in their pursuit for God. Fourth, he believed in complete and utter trust in God, and thus by giving up everything to Him and resigning ourselves to Him, there would be no more trouble for us. Only then would we come to know that everything is done according to Lord's will. Lastly, his most important belief was that loving God was of utmost importance. Without that, our existence had no meaning. Through his utter life devotion to God, Sri Ramakrishna proved that the revelation of God takes place at all times, and that God realization is not the monopoly of any particular age, country, or person. This sage of the 19th century, Sri Ramakrishna, did not found any cult nor did he show a new path to salvation. His message could be summed up in one word: God consciousness. According to Sri Ramakrishna, when God consciousness falls short, traditions become dogmatic, oppressive, and religious teachings lose their spiritual power. At a time when the very foundation of religion and faith in God was deteriorating, Sri Ramakrishna, through his spiritual realization, demonstrated beyond a doubt not only the existence of God, but also the validity of the time-honored teachings of all the prophets and saviors of the past. Thus he restored people's faith in religion once again. Drawn by the magnetism of his divine personality, people flocked to him from far and near, men and women, young and old, philosophers and theologians, philanthropists and humanists, atheists and agnostics, Hindus and Jews, Christians and Muslims, seekers of truth of all races, creeds and castes. When one talks of Sri Ramakrishna's greatest contribution, it is no wonder a small room in the Dakshineshwar temple garden on the outskirts of the city of Calcutta, which became a veritable parliament of religions, is mentioned first. Sri Ramakrishna's greatest contribution to the modern world was his message of harmony among all religions. To Sri Ramakrishna, all religions were the revelations of God in his diverse aspects to satisfy the manifold demands of human minds. According to Sri Ramakrishna, different religions gave us pictures of one truth from different standpoints. They are all complementary. He faithfully practiced the spiritual disciplines of different religions and came to the realization that all of them lead to the same goal. Hence he declared that even though the paths of all religions vary, harmony of religions is not uniformity, but instead it is unity in diversity. It's very important. It is not harmony of religions is not uniformity. It is unity in diversity. It is not a fusion of religions, but a fellowship of religions based on their common goal, communion with God. In the present day world, threatened by nuclear war and religious intolerance, Sri Ramakrishna's message of harmony gives us hope and shows us the way to find God. He teaches us to look for God in others as well as ourselves, persevere in all our struggles, and to trust and love God to the fullest. So, the more we study gospel, the more we are drawn towards spiritual life. And that's the way to practice. Every day we must keep studying in depth gospel of Sri Ramakrishna in order to maintain the spiritual fervor. Spiritual fervor is important. Then only we can make some progress in our life in this life itself. Page 928. It is dark night of the new moon. At 7 o'clock, the devotees make arrangements for the worship of Kali in Sri Ramakrishna's room on the second floor. Flowers, sandal paste, bilwa leaves, and hibiscus rice pudding, and various sweets and other articles of worship are placed in front of the master. The devotees are sitting around him. There are present among them Sharat, Shashi, Ram, Girish, Chunilal, M, Rakhor, Niranjan, and the Endar Narayan. Sri Ramakrishna asks the devotee to bring some incense. A few minutes later, he offers all the articles to the Divine Mother. M is seated close to him. Looking at M, he says to the devotees, meditate a little. The devotees close their eyes. Presently, Girish offers a garland of flowers at Sri Ramakrishna's feet. M offers flowers and sandal paste. Rakhal, Ram, and the other devotees follow him. Niranjan offers a flower at Sri Ramakrishna's feet, crying, Brahmamayi, Brahmamayi, and prostrates himself before him, touching the master's feet with his head. The devotees cry out, Jai Ma, hail to the Mother. In the twinkling of an eye, Sri Ramakrishna goes into deep samadhi. An amazing transformation takes place in the master before the very eyes of the devotees. His face shines with a heavenly light. His two hands are raised in the posture of granting boons and giving assurance to the devotees. It is a posture one sees in the image of the Divine Mother. His body is motionless. He has no consciousness of the outer world. He sits facing the north. It is the Divine Mother of the universe manifesting herself through his person. He is the Divine Mother of the universe manifesting herself through his person. Speechless with wonder, the devotees look intently at Sri Ramakrishna, who appears to them to be the embodiment of Divine Mother herself. The devotees began to sing hymns, one of them leading and the rest following the chorus. Girish sang, Who is this woman with thick black hair, shining amidst the assembly of the gods? Who is she whose feet are like crimson lotuses planted on Shiva's chest? Who is she whose toenails shine like the full moon, whose legs burn with the brightness of the sun? Who is she who now speaks soft and smiles on us, and now fills all the quarters of the sky with shouts of terrible laughter? I should stop here. Any questions to ask? Chant the name of the Lord, hand His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean and quench that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name, stream down in moonlight on the lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drowned deep in the waves of his bliss, tasting his nectar at every step, bathing in his name that bath my weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord, in each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy, how huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself, give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue. The playthings of lust are the ties of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, the steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the joy of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou who stillest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, For thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere, may all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous are in tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the free make others free. May good benefit all people, may the sovereign righteous rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy, may the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth give dusted crops, may all countries be free from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied. For he being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.